So let's talk about the difference between standard and basic channels, transcoding versus transmuxing. We touched on this a little bit a few weeks ago, but I want to dig into it a little bit and kind of try to break it down and let me know if this makes any sense to you. This is kind of a little demo analogy that I've had in my mind for a while now. So if you think about this red pipe, think of this as your video input. And IVS, for the most part, if you're using something like Streamlabs or OBS or any of the other desktop broadcasting software, for the most part, using those desktop software programs, your video is going to be ingested, sent to our data centers as RTMP, real-time messaging protocol. So let's think of this red pipe as an RTMP input, your video from your house to the data center, right? So your video is this size. This is I believe, 3/4 inch pipe. We'll call this your RTMP input. Let's say it's 1080p. If this was a basic channel, in other words, using transmuxing, not transcoding, if this were a basic channel, you would have this shape, this feed into our data center. And in our data center, if we connect these up, the output from our data center to the player is going to be converted to HLS. So you have RTMP in, you have HLS out, but if you notice, the shape hasn't changed. The only thing that changed is the color here, red to white, RTMP to HLS, right? So transmuxing doesn't change the shape of your video. The only thing it changes is the protocol, RTMP to HLS. Now, there is a little variation on this. Let's talk about the slight variation of that. The only other variation is if you're using our web broadcast SDK, and we'll look at that today if we have enough time. The web broadcast SDK, your input is WebRTC, so this blue pipe. When using the web broadcast SDK, you have our WebRTC in, goes to our data center, gets converted to RTMP, and then again, HLS out. So again, the shape has not changed here at all. We have the same 1080 in all the way through to the end user. So a basic channel is the same resolution from input to output. You don't get any transcoding at all. Now, this is kind of a mess, but if we think about transcoding, we do have that same RTMP in, the same 3/4 inch pipe, but when we get to our data center, what we get is different sizes out, right? So not only do we change the format, red being RTMP, white being HLS, but this time we get different sizes out. We have a 1080 out, we have a 720 out, we have a 480 out, we have a 360 out. So depending on the bandwidth of the end user, the IVS Player SDK will intelligently choose the proper feed to deliver the best quality possible to the viewer of your video. So that's the nice thing about transcoding.